Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Jared Lee, and I'm joined, as usual, by my lovely wife, Jamie Lee. So, Jamie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Got some things going on in Orlando. Got a busy week ahead of us, but we actually have a lot of news to talk about that Disney announced today. As normally they wait until Thursday after we've already recorded to have news come out. So
yeah.
It was kind of nice that they heard our feedback about maybe doing it a little early. So we've got some news we're going to talk about. Jamie went and saw Snow White. So
I did.
We're going to do a rare little bit of a movie review. Jamie's going to talk about what she thought about the movie. As you actually just watched the old one like the day before and then watched the new one. So like right back to back. So we can kind of have a comparison there on that. But we're going to most of the show is going to be talking about a lot of these news or the discounts that were announced by Disney and all these things like that before we get to the movie review. But that's what we're going to talk about today on the show, including there's a refurb of a ride I'm actually very happy about to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Like very excited. It could potentially be really good. So we're going to talk about all that. But before we do that, just want to remind everybody, if you're watching us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're not watching us on YouTube and you would like to, you can find us over on YouTube at CTM Podcast. And if you want to become a member over there, we have memberships available there as well. So if you enjoy what you're watching over there, check that out, become a member, and get some perks as being a member. And just let us know you appreciate what's going on over here. And, of course, if you're listening on good old trusty audio podcast form, you can find us on all of the major platforms that are out there, all the ones I'm aware of. Just search for Capture the Magic Podcast and subscribe over there. And please leave us a review if you wouldn't mind as well. Helps us continue to grow the show. So, all right, let's get to the news. The first one we're going to hit here is lots of announcements, of course. But the first one we'll start with is the one I'm actually really excited for this, is Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin is finally getting some much needed updates and fixes.
Yeah, so this is actually really exciting. So there's going to be a new scene. A new robot named Buddy will greet guests as they begin the ride and kind of give you the lowdown of like, make sure that you're sitting down and, you know, give you like the rules of the ride, I'm assuming. But you also have new ride vehicles. And these vehicles will have a video monitor and some new features to be able to track your points. There's going to be new handheld blasters. These will be much easier to aim, especially for younger kids, which is good. They are small. They will always have the laser on, like once you're pointing, it never goes away. It's always on. And the colors between the two people in the vehicles will be different so that you can tell which one is pointing where, which is kind of cool. And then they'll have some new lighting, sound, and vibration effects. And there will be interactive targets, which the Z targets that you're supposed to hit will light up when you hit it.
Yes.
So those were some really cool updates.
I will say,
yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And they said this has been in the works. For a while.
Well, this ride I've always found frustrating. It has, again, I love shoot 'em arcade competitive type rides. Like Toy Story Mania is my favorite because it's a really good ride. It's got a lot of repeatability. But I've always just found like the spinning aspect, the mounted gun, the way it shoots, the aiming of it. I know people are able to get super high scores on here, but you can really, it's kind of just like it's a cheat to do it. You just hit a couple of things and you get these high scores. Yeah. So from a competitive standpoint, I've always found this frustrating. So from that perspective, I'm very happy to hear about this. I still don't think Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin fits in Tomorrowland, but I don't think anything's going to happen on that front anytime soon. So I think this is good. I'm glad to hear about this. I like the fact that handheld blasters, that is the thing. And I wonder if they're getting rid of the spinning aspect. I hope they are.
They didn't mention that.
They did new ride vehicles. I'm hoping, I would much rather just concentrate on the shooting and not the spinning part.
Okay.
That always kind of becomes cumbersome to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. But this will start in August. So the ride will shut down in August, and it'll be closed for like a year.
They said sometime in 2026.
Yeah. So, So, I mean, like, it's good that they're doing it. It's just that this summer, I mean, we're going to have Big Thunder down. We're going to have Buzz Lightyear down. I don't know when Astro Orbiter is supposed to open. It's sometime this summer. And you know, Versus America is going to be closed, so there's going to be a lot of like bigger things that are closed. But it's what happens, you know.
But yeah, I think in terms of this one though, I was happy to hear about it.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Hopefully it is much, and it really, having written it recently, it needs some TLC.
It's needed it for a while.
I mean, Buzz doesn't even work in the last time I was in there. Last 2 times, Buzz wasn't working in the queue area. Just seemed really dirty. So
there were a couple of ride vehicles that were just not working, and they hadn't been working for a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited.
I'm happy to see. I mean, during this time, there's a lot of refurbs going on, so I think it's a good time to do it. So
yeah.
This being one of them. Happy to hear it. So, all right, next news story we have is 2 opening dates for 2 new attractions or shows taking place at Hollywood Studios.
It's actually the same date. It's May 27th, 2025 for The Little Mermaid Musical Adventure and Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After. And if you're familiar with the Little Mermaid show that used to be in Hollywood Studios, that was Voyage of the Little Mermaid. And it's been closed since March of 2020, and it has not reopened since the pandemic. So they're revamping it. They're going to have like new music, new kind of not a really new story, but just kind of like enhance the story. New lights, new puppets. You have the 3D or not the 3D, the black light. With the puppets and everything with the Under the Sea song.
I love a good black light. I remember it vaguely. Yes.
Okay. So stuff like that. It'll just get a huge new update. And then the villain show is replacing Lightning McQueen Race Academy. That's where that area is. And it's going to be a brand new musical stage show that features Hades letting his villain friends rewrite their endings. So
sounds scary.
Yeah. So those 2 are opening on the same day. It's the Tuesday after Memorial Day. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like new things opening, especially in Hollywood Studios where there's a limited amount of attractions already and it's very show heavy in that park. And while these are also shows, it's still like absorbs the crowds. So,
well, Hollywood Studios has had an issue for a while about wait times because you have, I think, if you look at attractions, it has a decent amount of attractions, but they're very weighted in terms of like Rise and Mickey and Minnie's. Like those are really high, like Slinky Dog. Those are high in demand. And then some of the other ones aren't. And while at the same time, they're also going to be losing Muppet Vision 3D later this summer. Mm-hmm. So this does do something to at least absorb some of the crowds.
Yeah.
We'll talk about after we talk about all the discounts and things about, if this whole plan this summer, if this is going to be enough and things like that. But it is something that does help a park that does have some issues with, wait times already and losing another attraction. So this is something that can definitely help that. So.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the discounts that Disney announced. So I think there's 2. One of them is very interesting. I think it does tell you where their worry may be this summer. But I think the one that's probably the biggest headliner one is this first one here.
Yeah, so you can get 50% off kids tickets if you buy a 3-day or longer kids standard ticket. And this deal is available for visits beginning May 27th through September 20th. So that's a big savings right there. Half off.
50% off for kids. Again, it has to be a 3-day ticket package or longer. But they a lot of times tout that Disneyland kid ticket that they have out there. I think it's like $70.
Yeah, they don't do that all the time.
Not all the time, but you'll hear them a lot of times tout that. So I think this is kind of trying to match that. But
yeah.
I mean, that is probably I don't know if they would go above a 50% discount other than in the past they have done a buy a day, get a day free type of thing. But this is one of the more massive discounts that I've ever seen. Yeah.
Well, and the next one too is a 3-day 3-park ticket that starts at $89 per day. So $267 total plus tax for visits starting April 6th through September 22nd. And this is for admission to Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. This does not include Magic Kingdom. So you could get 50% off of your 3-day or longer ticket, which would save you, a lot of money. But this one, the $89 per day, would save you maybe even more, but you would exclude Magic Kingdom, which I feel like most kids want to do Magic Kingdom. But then again, I guess it depends on the kid.
Well, so the kid ticket package doesn't exclude that. So the kids tickets will get you into Magic Kingdom.
Right.
But this 3-day ticket package.
Oh, it's for adults too. Oh, I missed that.
Would
okay.
Not.
So this is for anybody.
This is for anybody. But I think this is very telling of where Disney's worry is this summer. I've often said this. It's the fact that people may still be coming to Disney that go to Epic Universe and Universal, but they may not be going for as long. So I think what you're looking at is Magic Kingdom, I don't think is going to have an attendance hit. So clearly they're not worried about Magic Kingdom, but they seem to be worried a little bit about Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. So they're trying to offer deals to get people to go to those parks.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty telling how they've set that up. But the kids package, that is for any of the parks, but this one specifically is not. And it is roughly, depending on the day, I mean, you're talking 40% or more off.
Yeah.
On some of those days there.
Yeah. I mean, it's what the trend, and we have talked about this before on the show, but the trend is now heading toward summer being less busy than a lot of the rest of the year.
It's very true.
So, I mean, it's hot.
At least historically, it could change with, I mean, maybe the crowds come in for, Epic Universe and things. Like this year could be different. But ever since COVID, you're right. It has changed the way in which the busy times are. Yep.
There's also free dining returning. So it says, backed by popular demand, you can get a free dining plan with the purchase of a non-discounted 4-night, 4-day, or longer package that includes a room at select Disney Resort hotels and a ticket with park hopper option. This is offered for visits on select days from June 29th through December 22nd.
I mean, they pull out free dining when they need people into the parks.
Well, and they announced a deal also for Disney Visa card holders, kind of the same, similar deal, but the dates are different. But yeah, the fact that they're offering free dining at all, it just, they tend to do that whenever they're wanting the crowds to come in, which, okay.
Yeah.
If this works for you, like if you're the person that's like, yes, give me free dining, I look for it every year, I want free dining, then this is the way to go. Just remember that this doesn't really save you money. Maybe a tiny bit, depending. Let's say you have like 5 people in your room. Okay, it may save you money. But if you're in a room and there's only 2 of you and you're staying, I think you have to stay at least 4 nights. So staying 4 nights, it may not save you more money. It may end up wasting food.
It all depends. It all depends on how. Yeah, if you tend to eat a lot. Yeah. It also there is a convenience factor if you don't necessarily have to worry about extra money. It's kind of more of a
right.
You just buy a package that includes it, like on a cruise line. And it's just one less thing to worry about. I think that's a selling point for a lot of people.
Yep.
All right. Well, I got a question for you real quick. We'll talk about the last one here. Is they have a Disney Resort room deals. Save up to 30% on select Disney Resort hotel rooms when you stay longer for visits beginning April 1st through October 11th. And the special deals on rooms are also available for Florida residents and annual pass holders. So
August 1st through October 11th.
Yes. So they kind of staggered a bit. So looking at this, I mean, we kind of known the plan this summer for Disney was shows and parades, which I guess the other one is that the parade is not going to be ready to go.
They said summer.
They've
said summer the whole time.
Yeah, they said summer, but it's not going to be ready for Memorial Day, which is typically the kickoff for a lot of this stuff. So that's later in the summer sometime, undisclosed. They didn't say when it was going to open. Looking at this, do you think, I guess, what's your opinion on how Disney will fare this summer with how things are looking in general, obviously with Epic Universe opening, and then with these discounts on top of it, how do you think this is going to boost attendance? How do you think this is going to go? Do you think this is enough to really get people that are on the fence to come over?
Well, this is kind of anecdotal because it's just from what we're hearing from other people or, from social media or whatever. There's a lot of people that waited to take vacations to Universal or Disney this past year because they were waiting for Epic Universe. So I can see a lot of people maybe going this summer and wanting to visit both Disney and Universal to see Epic. So I think maybe, they're still going to go to Disney, but just maybe not as long.
Yeah.
Take a day out or 2 days even to go visit Universal, whereas maybe they wouldn't have done that before. I can see that may be happening.
I think obviously it's happening on some level, as I think obviously Universal is pushing that with their packages, trying to get people to stay longer. And I think if you look at the way these are set up, obviously Disney is trying to entice people to stay 3 nights or longer, offering pretty significant discounts to do it. And honestly, they wouldn't be offering these deals if they were looking at bookings and they were happy with how they were looking. I mean, if you just read between it, I just don't think they would be offering this much of discounts if they were just like, we're fully booked up through the end of the year. Obviously, I think they see something that they don't like, which it could be, and again, I've said before, it's not that people won't be going to Disney, but they made it, like you said, not going as long, maybe only going 1 to 2 days.
Yeah.
And so by doing the ticket packages this way, incentivizing 50% off for kids and all these, you could, get people to add, peel off a day or so, add an extra thing. And so if you're on the fence, if you're going, you're like, well, let's, we can add Disney 50% off for the kids. Okay, we can make that work. Mm-hmm. And I think that may be the strategy here, which if you don't have any new attractions to offer, I mean, you got shows and parades, whatever appeal that has to people. I can't speak to how that appeals to people that, I know the Disney crowd is all for those things. I don't know how that appeals to just the general public. But if they're on the fence, I think this could be enough to push them to at least, add it onto their trip.
Yeah.
And then maybe the thinking here with that.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, whether it'll work, it'll be really interesting to see the first financial earnings after May, like how they report their earnings and how they look. And like I said, I don't think Magic Kingdom's going to get hit. I think Animal Kingdom more than likely is going to continue to have its issues, and I think they're going to try and flush those out. Plus, you add in how they've done with the AP down payment rates, slashing those. I think they're really going to try and bump up the pass holder base, offer lots of Florida resident discounts. So whatever they may feel like they're losing to Epic Universe or whatever, they can try and make up that difference with the locals and APs. I think that's probably their plan going forward. Yeah. And then see how it's looking. It'll be really interesting to see how it's looking to the fourth quarter, because typically that's very, very busy. So if there's still a lot of discounts coming into the fourth quarter, that would be another indication that they're not liking the way the bookings are looking. But
I guess we'll wait and see on that one.
Yeah, I was surprised to see 50% off. I had wondered all along, would they hit a point of something offering 50% off and the kids' tickets? I think that one will be one that will probably get the most attention.
Yeah.
So,
well, speaking of kids.
Yes. Well, speaking of, kid-centric, starting May 27th through September 1st, there are kid-centric experiences that will pop up in the parks and resorts.
Yeah, so in Magic Kingdom, there's going to be kid zones in Storybook Circus and Tomorrowland. So Storybook Circus is more focused on the younger kids, and I think they're just talking about Casey's Jr., a little water play area, maybe a little bit more than that, but I know that's what they're talking about. And also Tomorrowland, and this one is going to have like Stitch themed activities. I was like, okay. In Epcot, Goofy is taking over Communicore Hall with a new play space and a Goofy party. I don't know, games, activities, even like water play stuff. Basically a place to like get out of the heat.
It's air conditioned in there.
Yeah. During early theme park entry, we're going to see characters start appearing then, much earlier than Rope Drop as they've done before. So if you are coming during early entry and it's a busy summer afternoon or busy summer morning and all the rides have gotten really long lines so far, you can meet characters starting at 7:30 in the morning if you want to.
Yeah.
The parks will also see surprise entertainment in the form of games and musical activities for young children that kind of pop up here and there. And Art of Animation, Pop Century, Caribbean Beach, and Wilderness Lodge will have set character meeting times at the hotels, which is new, and expanded offerings of resort activities. So they're just kind of trying to offer more for the kiddos all through the summer. So.
Well, what's interesting, if you look at this, it seems like some of these things are things that they usually put in the Halloween parties and Christmas parties. They're just adding into here a little bit, something similar to that. A
little bit.
And call me crazy. I kind of think these are things that should just be offered all the time.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie. That'd be great if they stick around. I mean, past September, sure.
Because, I mean, character meet and greets at the resorts, I think that would be a great thing to have.
So they already do character appearances. They have that character cavalcade, little bus thing where they take the characters and move. Okay, so they do that. This is just saying that they know which character will be there and they know when and where they're going to meet. So it's like a character meet and greet just in the hotel at a specific place. So, you can plan for it.
Right, and I think that's something that, I don't know. To me, I think that's something that should always be there just because I think that would go along. I mean, if you're talking about perks of staying at the hotels for, families with kids, this would be a major one of, well, if we stay here, if they're running deals and you also get to do, you get to meet Mickey and Minnie and all these other characters. Yeah. So, and if you think about it, it's not going to cost them much money. You just get some cast members and some costumes.
They're already going, and they're already appearing. So let's just make it official, I guess. So,
but I mean, they can kind of bundle this together and present it as a perk. But I do hope and think this is something that should stay. I mean, you don't have to do the dance parties all the time, but still stuff like that popping up like in the parks, I think is something that it kind of goes back to Streetmosphere. I'd like to see more of that type stuff in the parks, like more character interactions, more, I don't know, add a little bit more liveliness to the parks a little bit.
But all this stuff is very kid centered. Like it's very focused on the kids. Obviously it's summer. The school kids are out for the summer and we're going to Disney probably. And I think this just shows that okay, this is the place to be during the summer. We've got all this kid stuff going on. So that's what they're doing. They're just trying to draw people in, give them a reason to come.
Well, they're also leaning into what their strength is.
Yeah.
So if you are looking at competition from Universal, Disney is still stronger when it comes to kids and families in terms of broad appeal. So
I agree.
Doubling down into where you're the strongest makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next bit of news we have is Disney Vacation Club had announced a new preview center, and everybody had wondered what this construction at the Canada Pavilion in Epcot was over at Chateau des Voyages.
Yeah, so this is what
I think that's how you say that.
Yes. So this is the first in-park welcome home center for Disney Vacation Club. This will serve as a place to learn about DVC membership and to view a model room of the Island Tower at the Polynesian. So
I feel like this is weird.
Okay, so do you mean why pick Canada as a place to put it in?
Like why here? And it's a weird thing to me. Like you have the Canada Pavilion, and inside of it you have a Polynesian room. Like I get they're wanting to sell more DVCs, but it just seems. I think a lot of people were anticipating something cool coming that wasn't just another DVC thing in the parks.
Yeah, I mean they have those stands set up every once in a while, like Hollywood Studios. It's right outside of Walt Disney Presents. Magic Kingdoms. Where's Magic Kingdoms is by the Tomorrowland Speedway and Space Mountain, like over there. It's like small.
Yeah.
A little stand, and then I'm blanking on where Animal Kingdoms is. But there's a small one set up in each of the parks. So I think this is the first, big preview center we're going to get, and I think it's going to pop up in all the parks.
I mean, obviously they're doing, they got the DVC lounges they're doing more of.
Disney Springs has a preview center now, so it'll probably be similar to that. I don't know.
I feel like this is
we're selling on stuff.
I mean, that DVC makes them a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I saw that and I just thought it was odd.
Yeah.
That it was just there. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. I'm sure if you're curious about DVC, you can go check out one of the rooms there. But
it's supposed to open this spring, so
yeah. Anytime. I mean, obviously they're trying to push Island Tower DVCs
for sure.
So.
Yep.
But all right, next story we have is the Disney shareholder meeting was last week, and CEO Bob Iger made a few announcements.
Yes, and it made us go, "Okay, Bob, we're listening." So a Coco 2 movie is in the works.
How is that going to work? Coco was a great movie, but
it doesn't need a sequel.
Nothing. I know.
It doesn't need a sequel. We don't need to do that, but we know, movie's successful. Let's just make a sequel. So I get that. Disney may also develop further content for Figment, maybe in short form videos or even a series. He was very wishy-washy about this. I've heard all this stuff about Figment being so popular and everything. Maybe I want to talk to people about what we could do with maybe some videos or whatever. I was like how
okay. He's just now figuring out.
Yeah, I'll be like,
popular.
You haven't known. You've been
kind of like
when
he made this statement about apparently kids like video games. You're like, what? And that's why they bought a stake into Epic Games. Yeah. I'm like, you just now figured this one out.
I'm like, Bob, you've been here for 20 years. You've been CEO for 20 years, man. Come on.
One of the youngins told me people like these movie games. It's crazy.
And then he also addressed the ticket prices and the rising crowds and how basically to make it all flow right. Basically, he was just saying how we're expensive, but have you seen concerts and sports pricing? Woo.
Well,
that's basically what he said.
Right. So it was a shareholder meeting. Shareholder meetings are different.
Yeah.
So they typically will have questions from shareholders that clearly were screened. Because no questions were asked about Epic Universe, which you would assume shareholders have a question about, hey, how do you feel you're going to fare and all this stuff. He didn't really defend the pricing. They asked the question. He said, it's something I think about every single night. And I'm like, do you? That's it. That's a weird, I don't know. It seems like a strange thing because he's directly in control. So if it's on his mind, he can change these things. But he didn't really defend it as much as he pivoted to just saying, well, compared to concerts and pro sporting events, we offer a lot of value, which, I mean, it's kind of a political move, not answering the question, but he's not wrong in that sense, because if you look at sporting events and concerts, like those are insane in terms of pricing. So it's a good pivot on his part to put it that way. He doesn't want to compare it to just how it was 5 or 6 years ago, because obviously that you can see the price increases and a lot of the perks that aren't there. But in terms of the answer, he pivoted to I would just say generally like, okay, that was a pretty slick way to go about that question without really answering the question.
Right.
But,
yeah. So, I mean, that's basically what he talked about that we would have been concerned about. He did talk about the stuff that's already in the works and like it's going to open soon. And we got a preview of the Lion King ride in Disneyland Paris. We got a little bit of that. So, like, that was nothing else new, just that stuff, really.
Yeah.
So
it is interesting how I don't recall, again, like the last couple of months, they've been very defensive about their pricing, because it's been talked about a lot, but I think it's a lot of the like Wall Street Journal, New York Times, like a lot of bigger publications have openly been talking about it. And so they're addressing it a bit more, which makes me wonder, I mean, with the discounts we're seeing already and the rumor of that variable ticket pricing model, I do wonder, I'm not going to be surprised if we don't see ticket price increases this year, at least made publicly, like a big announcement about it.
I have to say, though, I really don't think that we actually want a lower price on these tickets, because if they lower the
lower price.
No. Individually, this is like the fallacy of competition. Individually, sure, give me a lower price of tickets. But as a group, as a whole, that means we have way more people in the parks and it gets overcrowded so fast if the tickets are cheaper.
I mean,
100%.
true.
100%.
Supply and demand. The other alternative would be to just add more things, which is one reason a lot of people have pointed to a fifth gate. I've said for a long time, I think they need to flush out the existing parks more before they look at a fifth gate. But I would probably say if you look at, instead of just replacing attractions with something else, like actually expand the parks, make them bigger, add more, you add more things to do, you can absorb more crowds, help the crowds that way.
Sure.
I mean, it's a valid point. I mean, but it's just one of those things that I've never recalled them really acknowledging. I mean, it's always been out there anytime there's price increases and people talk about it and then they just move along. It just in recent memory, I don't recall them being as almost on the offense about defending it as much as they have been recently, which is just kind of interesting. But yeah. All right. Next story we have is May 4th. Park reservations for Hollywood Studios are sold out for annual pass holders. I wonder why.
This is May the 4th be with you. It's an annual event they do at Hollywood Studios. Sometimes they do like special food and drinks. Sometimes there's special like entertainment offerings. It just depends year by year. Definitely with merchandise. But regular tickets and resort stays are still eligible to make a reservation if it applies to you. But yeah, so that always books up pretty quick with reservations. I love Star Wars in this neck of the woods.
This is true. Even in Galaxy's Edge.
Yes, Jared.
Even in there.
Yes.
And the last story we have is the Grand Floridian lobby will be under refurbishment from April through November. So just FYI to anybody looking to go over there.
Yeah, like it was, remember they were working on the lobby a little bit last year.
I was starting to say, I feel like it's been under construction at various different times.
I know, and they're going to return back in, I guess, well, let's see. The Grand Cottage for Easter is up right now. So they won't do anything until after Easter. So I'm assuming once that's gone, then that's when they're going to start.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so you may hear some construction going on. It's been construction for that place in a long time, so you may be used to it if you're over there a lot. But you will see that in the lobby. And they said that most of the dining will be available. And I'm like, what dining wouldn't be available? It may impact like Grand Flow Cafe, maybe, because they're like right off the lobby.
It could.
Maybe. Maybe Enchanted Rose. It might affect that, but just FYI. All
right, like I mentioned in the pre-show, Jamie went and saw Snow White. I
did.
Instead fought with a washing machine all afternoon while her and our daughter went to go see a movie.
Yes, you did.
So this will be Jamie talking about, this is going to be spoiler free.
Yes.
And just your general thoughts. So you take it away, however you want to take this.
Okay, so, there's been a lot of thoughts and I don't want to say controversy around this movie, but it's true.
There has been controversy around this movie.
So it's kind of had a lot going against it to begin with. Having seen this movie, having seen what was done with it, the direction they decided to take it, I don't think they should have done it, because now we're seeing these low box office receipts come in, and it is very, very evident they're going to lose money.
Yeah, this is it's not the lowest performing opening weekend.
Right.
The only one below it was the newest Mufasa's opening weekend.
Okay.
Other than that, it's...
Oh, I thought it was Dumbo.
Dumbo was a Disney Plus thing, wasn't it?
No.
Okay. Well, at least the list I saw, it was down toward the bottom. Either way, it was like $45 million domestically is what it brought in.
So right there, like maybe this was not a great idea to make this movie. I have my thoughts about live action remakes anyway, but it's hard to go up against a original classic while also trying to modernize it. And they just shouldn't have tried, to be honest, because they made a movie that changed so much, added so much, that it really didn't capture the essence of Snow White, in my opinion, as much as it could. Again, this is fully all my opinion.
Well,
so
I think
come at me if you don't agree, but that is what I'm thinking.
Well, I think undoubtedly looking at this movie, you have the movie itself, whatever quality. I haven't seen it, so I can't speak to the movie. But then you have everything else around it, the comments and all that stuff that's surrounding it that, I think have definitely, I guess you could say, muddied the waters in terms of the way in which this movie was going to perform and how people perceived it going in. But I agree. I mean, I'm not a fan of live action remakes by any means. I would like to see this come to an end at some point of all these. But yeah, so okay, what are some other things, like what are some things that you did like about it? Okay,
so I thought the music was really good. So the same musical team that did The Greatest Showman and Dear Evan Hansen, which I don't know, that isn't as popular, but The Greatest Showman was very popular. Binge Pasek, I think, and Justin Paul, they were all the new songs for the movie. And I can't remember how many there were, but there were only 2 original songs from the 1937 version. The Whistle While You Work and Hi Ho songs were in there. Everything else was new. And there's a new song called Princess Problems, which is really funny. And then Waiting on a Wish, which is actually a really pretty song. So the music was really good. Like the music. Thumbs up.
Okay.
Visually, I thought it was very beautiful. It kind of looked whimsical, lots of color, and kind of looks like there was like a soft filter on it to make it look very like fairy tale like, which I was like, okay, I'm into this. And like at the beginning, and I won't tell you why or anything, but at the beginning there's a lot of color, there's a lot of vibrance to the picture, and then a little bit into it we see all the color kind of drained out in certain scenes, and I was like, okay, they're doing a lot with the visuals, so I really like that. I thought Rachel Zegler played this version of Snow White very well. She's got a beautiful voice, and she's petite, like Snow White's supposed to be petite and everything. She did a great job. Like, I thought she was one of the strengths of the movie, to be honest. And the 7 Dwarfs were pretty funny. They kind of acted similar to how they are in the original, a little bit more. I feel like they talked a little bit more in this one than the original one, which makes sense because there's more talking in general. But they provided a lot of the humor of the movie, I will say. So okay. I thought the 7 Dwarfs were great. Let's go to cons.
Okay, what are the things you didn't like about
cons. It? They changed her as a character. So when you think of Snow White, this is not the same Snow White.
Right.
So that's a pretty big deal.
A little issue. Because,
they didn't change any of the other titular characters of the live action remakes. They were all the same. Snow White is different. And I'm not going to say how because I don't want to spoil it, but again, she's just different. The CGI of the 7 Dwarfs was odd. It was weird.
I mean, from the previews, it looked weird looking.
It was like the uncanny valley feeling where you're just like, something just looks off. And I don't know if they just had a hard time doing the CGI with them.
Well,
but
it was last minute.
I know. I mean, like, I know they had to go in and redo it and everything. And there were some parts of the CGI where I was like, okay, that could have been a little bit better. But again, it just felt a little off. But they were still the funniest part of the movie. I was like, I felt zero chemistry between Snow White and the person that was the male lead. I don't know if I'm alone on that. I don't know if anybody else felt that, but I didn't feel any real chemistry.
Well, and this one isn't it's not even really a story about finding true love.
Yes, in the synopsis for the movie, they do tell you that that's not part of it. So that's not a focus of the movie.
A little bit of a change.
Right.
Maybe that's a little bit to the chemistry there. They're like, we need you to act like you hate each other.
Because
true love is not happening here.
That's not it. There was a character choice they made for one of the Seven Dwarfs that I hated. I'm not going to say what it is, but if you've seen the movie, you may know what I'm talking about. It irked me quite a bit. And it felt a little choppy. Like, you could tell they did reshoots. You could tell that they made some changes. Like, maybe a scene was going to go a certain way and then they kind of had to like do a different way. I don't know exactly, but it just felt a little choppy in certain places. And then unfortunately, when you have bad casting for a role, it can really affect the movie. And I'm going to butcher her last name, but Gal Gadot. I don't know how you say it.
Pretty sure it's Gal Gadot.
Okay. She was the wrong choice for the Evil Queen. I mean, she's very beautiful and she presents herself like really, really well, maybe as the queen. But this like required more of a theatrical performance and she just doesn't have the chops for it. So
I mean, she's not.
I just didn't think she was right for it.
She's not a great actress. Even in like Fast and Furious movies, where you could argue acting is like fourth or fifth on the like what we need for this movie. Even in those, when she was in it, stuck out of like just not great. Even Wonder Woman, there was a compilation of like some of her Wonder Woman scenes, and you're just like,
no.
oh man, like it, yeah. I mean, like you said, she's very pretty, but
she's very beautiful.
I never thought she was an amazing actrence. I guess I'll put it that way.
So I just think this role just really needed a stronger, more someone that has experience in theater that could just kind of be over the top, because this evil queen, evil stepmother, all these like villains are very over the top.
Right.
And she just, I didn't get that from her. So
yeah,
just me,
I mean, from the critic reviews I've seen, they all have similar notes about her not being very good in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could go to whatever is around this movie, you know, some of the comments and things and everything that's gone around it.
Yeah.
I've always felt this movie was going to have to be really good to overcome it. So what you're saying is essentially this movie is just not good enough in general to even, you know, even if you didn't have the controversy, it's still just not a good movie.
You know, it's not like it's terrible.
Right.
But it's not great.
Right.
It's not amazing. It's just very middle. It's mid.
Yeah.
I don't want to like say that it is terrible, because it's really not. And I know I had a lot of pros and a lot of cons and try to even those out a little bit, but I'm glad I saw it, but I don't think I would see it again in the theaters, especially. If you haven't seen it yet, you know, if you want to support Disney and buy the ticket and go see the movie in the theater, do it. If you don't want to waste the money, I would say wait for it to get on Disney Plus.
I have a feeling if this movie has a bad second weekend, it may not be in the theaters much more than a month.
Yeah,
I think they'll pull it pretty quick if it falls off more.
And to their credit, I mean, it's difficult to take an original, you know, animation movie that kind of set the stage for the growth of the Disney company in general. It's hard to appease everybody with what you do with it, because if they remade a movie that was exactly like the original, okay, it's going to be kind of odd, because it's like, well, we're in modern times, let's modernize it a little bit. But how they did it and how it ended up being, I don't know. It was not really it's not really hit, not really a miss, just kind of just mid.
Well, I mean, I would argue, I mean, again, I haven't seen the movie, but I would just say this is one reason why I think I don't like live action remakes, because Snow White has so much importance to Disney as a company, because literally if it wasn't for the Snow White movie, I mean, Walt Disney's entire trajectory would have been much different.
Yeah.
He basically banked everything on this movie, and you'd have to treat it with such a reverence in a certain way. And I feel like just changing elements of that, you'd be better off just to not remake it. That
was my point too.
And I think that's just what it comes to the remakes
Yeah.
is obviously it's just, I mean, on some level they're just cash grabs. They're playing on nostalgia and things.
We're not twisting their arm for this remake.
Right.
I don't think anybody was.
It's like Disney's on a mission, like we have to remake every single and they're like, you guys don't have to. And they're like, no, we have to. But this is one reason why, like, there's just, and if you're going to do live action remakes, you don't have to do every single one of them.
Yeah.
And I think this one may have been one where you should have just been like, we're not going to do this just because it's been redone a lot anyways. I mean, again, it's a fairy tale that Walt Disney took and Disney-fied it. So there's already a lot of Snow White stories out there.
Well, there's Snow White and the Huntsman that came out in like 10 or 11 years ago.
Which performed better than this one.
That one wasn't terrible. Again, hated the choice for who played Snow White, which is Kristen Stewart.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And the focus wasn't super on her. They just kind of took it a different direction. There's Mirror Mirror, which was Lily Collins and Julia Roberts, I think. It was more campy, a little more over the top. And there's just been iterations here and there.
And there's been shows and
it's a little different. But speaking of remakes and remaking everything, let's talk about what's coming up in the remake department.
Yeah, well, obviously, I don't think Disney's going to slow down anytime soon on remakes. So 2025, I mean, they had a great 2024. They had $3 billion movies. Captain America, Brave New World, I think, just now crossed 400 million. I think.
Okay.
So that movie didn't do great. This one's not going to do great. This one will lose more than likely hundreds of millions of dollars. It's going to lose a lot of money for Disney.
I mean, we'll see.
But the bright spot they do have is the Lilo and Stitch live action coming out in May.
Yeah.
So that one, I think if that's a good movie, that very well could be $1 billion movie.
That one has a lot. That shows a lot of promise. There's a lot of excitement around that movie for sure.
Yeah. And then unfortunately, we also have Moana live action, July 2026. Hunchback of Notre Dame, however you want to say that, and Bambi are in early development. And there are also confirmed the Aristocrats, Hercules, Cruella 2, Tangled, Don't Touch Tangled, and Robin Hood.
So a lot.
I want to get past this live. I've never been, if you listen to the show for any period, like for a few years, I've never been a fan of live action remakes.
Same.
I think you just come up with better like original ideas and like Tangled to me, having watched a lot with when our kids, our daughter was real little, I still contend that is one of the best princess movies they've ever made.
Yeah. And
I just like there's no way you're going to do that movie justice. To me, now maybe they'll pull it off, but for the most part, I look at all these and most of them they're better in their cartoon original form.
Yeah.
It's
hard to take the original and make it better when it was so loved,
Yeah, it also helps when someone in the movie actually seems like they like the movie that they're remaking. That also typically helps, but maybe that's something they can focus on going forward. But
yeah, I have a lot of remakes in the works, and like as far as like how this movie does, I don't know if it'll influence anything that they do going forward. I don't know if they'll cancel some of these that have been confirmed or rumored. I don't know.
Oh, I think this will.
It'll influence it.
There's no way that this does not have an impact on decision making going forward.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie cost. It's hard to know for sure. With reshoots, probably close to $300 million.
Yeah.
At least easily in the $200 million mark. So
I think they said 270.
Yeah.
Or something.
And sometimes they don't count reshoots in that budget when they announce it.
And so it doesn't count for marketing either.
It doesn't count for marketing. So if you throw marketing in there, even if the budget's 270, you're talking probably the very least mid $300 million.
Yeah.
Altogether. So to break even on this, it had to make anywhere from $500 to $600 million, which it's just not going to do. So it's going to lose a lot of money. I don't know. They've had some good ones that last year, but this is a movie they put off for years. I think they would have been better off just releasing it back in 2023 than they originally planned to. Take your lumps and move on, because I think everything else around it, this movie is more than likely, unless it was amazing, was going to have not the greatest performance at the box office. But I don't know. I mean, you hope that they learn from it and then they, stick to the source material more. Lilo and Stitch will probably be a pretty good test. The trailer looked good.
Yeah.
So if they're able to pull that one off, maybe then that sets a new standard for them. But yeah, I mean, I'm not too surprised at the performance of it so far.
Yeah. I mean, this is just obviously, again, I'm going to keep reiterating. This is just my thoughts.
How dare you have your own opinions? If they don't line up with mine, I'm going to write you an angry email.
Yeah.
Or text message.
Just
What did our daughter think about it?
She said it was okay. She wasn't like over the top excited about it. She thought it had some cute parts. It wasn't like I said, when I said it's like funny, like the some dwarfs were funny and everything, the whole movie didn't really see a lot of that like humor.
It seemed like a very serious
It was
tone.
more serious than some of the other remakes, I think. But
did you say she liked the original better?
She didn't say she liked it better.
Okay.
She just said that we had watched it the night before and she was watching this one, and I think she liked both, but like not a ton, like not a lot.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, an old movie like that, I've always been like,
yeah, the old movies, she's just like, why do they do it this way? Because like the original, like the movie just like starts.
Yeah.
You see her, you see, like there's no backstory at all. This one fills in like 20 minutes of backstory that was not present in the first one, in the original. So there's a lot to learn and a lot to alter throughout the movie. Again, it is what it is. It's out, can't change it, whatever. But it just took a lot of liberties of making Snow White a different person. Not completely, but a little bit.
So they changed the core character pretty much. I
mean, she still exudes of the virtues that make her Snow White. Like she's still kind, and she's still, she's kind.
You are painting a picture here.
She's kind, and she is brave. But there's
is there no like the prince wakes her up with a kiss? There's none of that.
I'm not going to say either way. I'm going to
assume no from what I've heard, but
I'm not going to say either way because I'm no spoilers. But yeah, just a lot of changes. Just a lot of changes.
Okay. Well, so what would your grade be on a scale? Like out of 10 stars, what would you give it?
5.
5 out of 10. Okay.
I would give it a 5.
Okay.
Yep. My favorite live action, just if you're curious, my favorite Disney princess live action was Cinderella.
I still think that's the best one they've done, which was the first one they've done.
Now, that wasn't everybody's favorite.
But
it was mine.
I think that one is, the ones that I've seen. I think that
was the first princess one, right?
I'm pretty sure it's the first live action remake that Disney actually did.
Wasn't there one? There might have been one right before it. I think was Jungle Book before that one? It doesn't matter. It's okay.
I don't know the timeline.
I know Cinderella was the first.
It was one of the first ones.
Well, Maleficent's in there, which was a completely different kind of thing.
Right.
Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin. They did a Mulan movie, but that came out during COVID, so it didn't really do that well. I don't think they'll redo Pocahontas. I don't see that happening.
Probably not.
And then I'm sure we'll see a Frozen live action.
Ugh.
You know it. It's
I know.
It's
I mean, the fact that we're seeing a Moana when Moana is not even that old.
Like, we literally had a Moana 2 come out this past year, and then next year we're going to have a live action. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, I talked about that on the live stream, I really wish Disney would get back to like how they, I mean, I think a lot of movies have obviously changed, but if you think about like what Disney kind of was and like when we were growing up, were a lot of these like simple, family friendly, kind of funny movies that were just, they're not complicated, like National Treasure or Flubber, like stuff like that was just fun. Mm-hmm. And they were cheap to make. But I think with streaming, you would expect those things now to be on streaming and not in movie theaters. And so everything, either like this big ticket, like big tentpole movie like Marvels and all this stuff like that. And then everything else, like they don't know where to put it. Like you don't see romantic comedies anymore. You don't see comedies.
Those go straight to Netflix.
Right. You don't see comedies anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like if they got back to just that form, like I still think there's a space for those types of movies if they're just like good, lighthearted, like, like The Rookie, like these feel good movies they used to do, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. To me, but maybe it belongs on streaming. But it's so different now than it was even 10 years ago that I don't know if they know exactly what they want to do going forward. But I guess we'll find out. But live action remakes are not going anywhere anytime soon, it sounds like.
Nope.
So, but all right. Well, Jamie gives it 5 out of 10. I don't have a score because I didn't see it. So
okay.
At some point when I see it, I'll probably talk about it. I have a feeling I would like it less than you.
Maybe. I mean, it's not your thing. You don't really like princess movies anyway, so.
Unless they're really good.
Okay.
Like Tangled.
Well, all right.
Great movie.
That's your movie.
Great movie. I still have beefs with the king. How you let a witch just jump off your balcony with your baby. I mean, come on.
Okay.
Anyways. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the show. Be sure to check us out on social media at Cap the Magic everywhere. Be sure to check us out on YouTube at Captain Magic again. I do daily videos there talking about Disney, Universal, Epic Universe, pop culture stuff. So you can check that out there. Almost at 11,000 subs. So it's growing and doing well. And also the podcast versions, video versions over on CTM Podcast. You can check those out there as well. And if you'd rather watch us versus listen or both, you can check that out. We also have like clips from the show on there also. And also be sure to check out some of the other shows on the network. We have the CTM Universal show where we talk about Universal Studios. And that is, we just had one on 2 weeks ago, talking about the latest Epic Universe news, as there's a lot. We'll have another episode coming up because we're going to stay at Terra Luna. So we'll review that. I'm sure there'll be other news with Epic Universe and other things to talk about on there as well. And once Epic Universe opens or about to open, that will become a weekly show. So you can find it on this feed for now. It's on its own podcast feed. And once it goes weekly, we will just post them on their own CTM Universal feed and not on this one here. So we also have Trip Tales, which is Jamie's Trip Report show.
Yep, and that is once a month where I have a guest on to discuss their latest Disney and or Universal vacation. And if you'd like to be a future guest on a future Trip Tales episode, you can go to ctmtriptales.com and fill out the information in the form beyond Trip Tales. If your trip is something I am interested in doing on the show, I will contact you.
There you go.
Yeah.
And of course, if you want some fantastic theme park apparel, check out Capture the Magic Apparel, where we design it in-house, print it in-house, ship it out to you from us. So it's at the highest quality you can find. I inspect each one of them as I print it to make sure it's good. And there's even people I still love seeing where 3, 4, 5-year-old shirts. I still have shirts that are 5 years old or so that still are wearing just fine. So they will last a while. They're very comfortable. We do next level comfort colors, hoodies, sweatshirts, whatever you want. We can print on that. And we have some new designs in the shop that you can check out. You can still use the promo code MARCH to save 15% off of your order this month. And again, if you order $50 or more, you also get free shipping. So you can get some savings on that end. Get yourself some comfortable shirts and help, if you want to support the show and have some good theme park or just wear around shirts and things like that, you can take advantage of that. And go to ctmapparelco.com, use the promo code MARCH, and get 15% off of your order. So, all right, well, that's going to do it for the show. So thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching. And thank you, Jamie, for joining us.
Thank you.
And as Jamie always likes to say,
we will see you in the parks.
Bye.